guys, welcome back to the channel. The purpose of today's video is basically to be like the one-stop shop for all things college advice, or at least coming from a transfer student coming into the University of Alabama in my junior year of college. So this video is more so targeted for those people, but also very general advice as well. I have my short little list here that we're just gonna go through while I get ready for work. Just a few small things, one of them being don't buy MacBooks. I'm telling you now, especially in my major, if I would have bought a MacBook, nobody would have been able to help me. It's just more common that your professors have something with Microsoft already installed on it and they don't have to do like the extra workarounds or runarounds to get it to work. If you've already bought one, because I know I am kind of uploading this video later, it's fine, you'll be fine. Just know that you'll kind of have to do a little bit extra maneuvering and trying to figure things out on your own versus your teacher being able to help you because they have something that has Microsoft on it. Another just kind of general thing, buy the biggest book bag you can. And I know it sounds a bit extra and a bit over preparing, but I promise you, especially this last semester, I had 2 labs on Mondays and that book bag was busting out the seams every single Monday. So just buy the biggest one you can. It'll save you a lot of time. I no joke went through 3 book bags my first year here. Now kind of getting into the actual nitty-gritty stuff of things that I learned while at university that are not so more so directly in the classroom, I guess. And I feel like everybody, whenever I say this, they're gonna get annoyed. Join extracurriculars. And I know there are some people who are not super outgoing and like to be to themselves and really don't like to do that stuff. But I promise you, all of my friends that I have met through extracurriculars. When I went to a Bama student transfer session, which was the last Get Ready With Me I think that I filmed, I can't remember 100%. But they made a really good point. Join 3 extracurriculars, one that's your interest, like personal interest, one that's related to your major, and then one that you're just intrigued by. And that's honestly the best bit of advice I can give anybody, because that's how you meet the most people and also just meet a variety of people. If you guys have seen any of my other videos previous to this, you would know that I joined a whole lot of different organizations to the point where I can barely keep up. But it's just an opportunity to meet new people and interact with new people. So for example, one of them being the ambassadors for the College of Engineering, and that alone, yes, they're all within the College of Engineering, but in the general scheme of things, they're all very different. And even the people that are like my former ambassadors or people that I like do tours with and I interact with, we're all completely different. But just by joining that one organization, I've met some of my favorite people in the world and one of my closest friends that I know joke like, we will be friends until we both have kids and families and married. Like, one of my favorite people ever. Honestly, might be my best friend at U. This one, which I feel like is kind of gonna ruffle some feathers, is don't go out every weekend. Just don't do it. I think my entire first year here, I went out maybe 5 or 6 times over the span of fall and spring semester. One, because I was 20 at the time, so you had to pay covered. No, I did not have a fake ID. My thought process of that is I was turning 21 in less than a year. So like, I didn't have to go out and drink to have a good time. So I was like, you know what, I'll just have to pay cover. And cover would get really expensive. Like the LSU game, $60 for cover. Absolutely not. When she told me that, I turned right back around and I went home. Because I'm not paying that much money. And again, don't spend a whole bunch of money on cover just to go out. Don't spend a lot of money just to go out. Moral of the story, don't spend every single weekend out. You're getting no brownie points. No one's giving you a pat on the back. It's not some huge accomplishment. Like, I went out 2 weekends in a row, and that was the first week of school, and then like the first full week of school, and then also the football game. That was the only time that I went out consecutively. But every now and then I would sprinkle in going out, but I did not go out at all my spring semester. Also because my spring semester was extremely difficult. But I'm telling you, don't go out every weekend. Don't be that person. Nobody should know you by name and face at any bar. The next one that I'm about to say is definitely going to feel very redundant because you're going to hear a lot of people say this, but it's so true. Go to class. Just go to class. And even if you're not understanding anything that's going on in there, being there makes all the difference in the world. For example, my freshman year, I took this computer class that I had a teacher with a really thick accent, barely understood him. I was learning a new programming language. It was just so much that was not in my favor, basically. By me simply just going to class and being present, I somehow ended that class with an A. Did I deserve an A out of that class? Based off my work? No. But based off my effort, absolutely. Another little tidbit that goes with that is go to tutoring and office hours. Again, that makes a really big difference, and it also puts a name with a face versus just a number in the classroom, which I will say some teachers' office hours are better than others. Some of them will literally be like, just come to my office hours and I'll help you, and by you going they give you extra credit and they give you bonus points on assignments. And I've been office hours before where the TA literally did the entire assignment for me just because I went, which I know they're not supposed to do that, but this particular TA did, and I had no complaints because I had no idea what I was doing. Again, from the coding class. Go to those like very specific organizations or meetings that are targeted towards new students. So for example, I know that there's a lot of like freshman forums and like freshman organizations that they want freshmen to be a part of so that they get to know other people and interact more. And the same thing with transfer students. Like we have transfer study halls that are specifically for other transfer students to interact with others, just to kind of get to know more people on campus and make it feel a little bit smaller and a little bit more like home. And I know that that's not at every university, and I know that it's typically only for, at least at the University of Alabama, they have stuff for freshmen and stuff for transfer students. But like if you're, you know, sophomore, junior, senior, it's a little bit different. I don't know how that works. I haven't made it to that step yet. I know some people go off to university thinking that they can be just a small fish in a big pond, which is true. That's very well possible. But if you make the pond smaller, it'll help and it'll make your time so much more enjoyable. More on the academic side, do all of the extra credit. Every single extra credit opportunity, do it. And I know it seems tedious, and also I haven't listened to this 1,000%, but it does pay off in the long run. That's how I got an A out of that coding class. But also kind of evaluate whether it's worth it or not, because in one of my classes last semester, I kid you not, he was like, oh, extra credit opportunity. I'm like, all right, great, I'll do it, no problem. And he was like, it's 1 point, not 1 point on like your final average, 1 point on like a test. And me, considering how much work you had to put into his extra credit assignments, it was not worth doing. So in that class, I didn't do the extra credit, but any other class, any extra credit opportunity there was, I was doing it 1,000%. I know that most universities are still like in that period where you can change your schedule and change your classes, or you can change it up until like the first full week of school or something like that. I feel like everybody says this, do not do that at 8 a.m. Don't. Literally don't do it. And also for me, don't do classes 5 days a week. I don't know what it is, but classes 5 days a week is brutal. I can't do it. Like something about it, once we get to that 4th and 5th day, I'm over it. Now, some people can do that, no problem, and it really doesn't make a difference. But for me personally, I can't do it. I don't know. For some people, 8 a.m. classes and classes 5 days a week really doesn't bother them. But depending on your course load, it's going to get old really fast and it's going to be super tiring. Like this semester, I'm taking less credits, and that's simply because of how strategic I wanted my schedule to be, and also the fact of like where I'm at. Like for example, I intentionally did not want to take a math class this semester because I've been in math classes for now an entire year. I took a summer math class my summer coming into UA. I took a math class fall semester, took a math class spring semester. I just finished up Calculus 2 this summer. I am all tapped out of math classes. So for me personally, I was not going to take another one. And all the classes that I'm taking this upcoming semester are mainly specific towards my major, which I like, because I feel like before I was kind of taking some related to my major, and then like what I call dilly-dally classes, which is like stuff that everybody has to take. But now I'm like officially in the thick of it. All of the classes that I take from this point on are either related to my major or my minor. Another piece of advice that I feel like everybody tells you is to get a planner. And I wouldn't even say get a planner. Use Google Calendar. I promise you, let me just show y'all what my Google Calendar looks like. It looks crazy, and I understand what each thing is for. I have everything color coded, but this, as y'all can see, I heavily use Google Calendar, and it's honestly the biggest game changer. Before, I was doing honestly the absolute most. I would have a paper calendar, and then on top of that, I would go into Canva and make my monthly calendar. And I don't know why I did it that way, because it would change so much and so often, but that was my system. I don't know how I did it for so long, but I did. But using Google Calendar or any sort of calendar app helps so much, because It keeps everything in a centralized location. You can look at it from any given point. It's honestly the best app in the world, if you ask me. Which some people use like regular Apple Calendar. I don't like that because I feel like I can't do tasks and assignments the way that I can on Google. But just get some sort of system that works for you. Also, another thing that kind of goes with that, plan everything ahead. Like plan out your assignments, do everything early and as soon as possible. Like when I tell y'all my schedule this semester is absolutely insane, I have already planned out my next maintenance appointments. And they're not for another like month and a half. Because I know things are gonna get super busy and super hectic, especially once school starts. So I don't have to worry about that right now. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. That's just my quick little advice video. I feel like there's so many of these either on TikTok or on YouTube. So I kept mine kind of short and condensed, and hopefully it can help at least like 2 or 3 people. If it helps anybody, it's a win if you ask me. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye.